How's it going, everyone? It's GadgetsBoy. Welcome to another video. And we have a brand new flagship device in town. It's the VIVO X80 Pro. It's a new flagship device that's packing a lot of specs into this slim profile device. And it's slick. I quite like the design. But is he actually got a lot going for it? Does it live up to his specifications? Well, this is an unboxing and first impressions. Let's take a look. As always with every VIVO product, we have a nice slick packaging that looks nice and slim profile. It looks premium already. And then when we open the box, we are greeted with the device itself in cosmic black. And this is the 12 gigabytes of RAM version with 256 gigabytes of internal storage. Elsewhere, we get a charger. So it's a faster charger as well. So fast charge, supercharger, whatever you want to call it. We have an ejector tool. We have a pair of USB-C headsets in there. You have a phone case as well that's nicely designed to fit the device itself in terms of design. It's got that nice leather finishing and it's slim profile as well, so it doesn't add too much bulk onto the actual device, which is really good. And it's got that nice fake leather finishing on the back, but it looks really nice, adds to the premium feel of the device and the case in itself. You do get your warranty card information, and there's a USB cable, which is a full USB to USB-C cable, because the charger itself is a full USB plug-in. So there we have it. That's all you get inside of the box. Starting with the back of the device, you notice the big camera area. You can't hide away from that at all, and it stands out in terms of design. So if you do see this out and about, you know this is a VIVO product. And it's got all the Zeiss branding on it with that T coating in terms of anti-reflective and all that stuff. We'll talk more about that when we explore the device. Looking at the bottom of the device, we have a USB-C port, your speaker grill, microphone, and there's also your SIM card tray as well. This will take dual SIM card, so 2 nano SIM cards can be placed inside of the tray. On the right side, we have the volume rocker and the power button, nice and simple. On the left side, there's nothing to see here. And if we look up top, we have your IR blaster and microphone, and there's also another speaker. So this is rocking a dual stereo speaker, and you got your front-facing camera up top as well, a nice hole punch display. Another thing you'll also notice at the top in terms of branding is where it says professional photography, which is something I'm looking to try out. I'm looking to test this out to see how professional that photography actually is. So we'll find out soon enough. First thing first, on durability, I've been using this for a couple of days or so, and placing this inside my pocket with my keys, you can see how much this is scratched up already. So if I just quickly give this a wipe on the screen from the fingerprint, it does come with a screen protector already pre-installed, but I removed it just to see how strong the actual glass is. So if I just power this off, you can see some of the scratches on the screen there. You can just see it right there. Just all those micro scratches all over it. It's not a good look, not a good start for the device. Elsewhere, we do get a curved edge display, which is not the best of design in my opinion. I prefer flat display because curved edges just doesn't add any extra thing to the device. So I don't see the point of having that extra display there. Powering on the device, we do get a fingerprint display and Face ID unlock as well. So you can register your fingerprint to unlock the device or use your face to get into your smartphone straight away. And it works each and every time. So if I just power this off, you can see there, just unlocks the phone very quickly straight away. Or if I was to use my face, you can see how quickly that just unlocks the device. So it works each and every time. For the display size, you are looking at 6.78 inches of display, and resolution is 1440 by 3200 pixels. And this has got 20:9 aspect ratio, and you're looking at 517 ppi density. So it looks nice and sharp, nice and clear. There's no problems there. And if you're watching movies or anything like that, this will look really good. This is actually rocking LTPO3 AMOLED display. It's got 1 billion colors. So again, very vibrant. 120 Hz refresh rate, supports HDR10 plus, and you're looking at 1500 nits of peak brightness. It's very bright. I've been using it in bright sunlight as well. It's been nice and sunny today in London, and when you bump it up all the way to the top, it looks really nice and bright. So all you can have is just auto. Before we get more into the device, let's talk more about the camera on the back, some of the specifications here. We have a 50 megapixel f1.6 wide angle camera, and that supports PDAF, laser autofocus, and OIS. We have 8 megapixel f3.4 periscope telephoto lens, and we have OIS with that as well, and 5 times optical zoom. There's also a 12 megapixel f1.9 telephoto lens, And this has dual pixel PDAF and 2x optical zoom with gimbal OIS. These devices have one of the best stabilizations I've ever used, actually, so this is worth mentioning. And we also have a 48 megapixel f2.2 ultra wide angle lens with autofocus. And obviously we do get the Zeiss optics, so we've got that T-star lens coating and pixel shift and dual LED and dual tone flash. And this supports HDR. This will shoot 8K videos, is capable of also shooting 4K at 30 and 60 frames per second, and you have 1080p, and you have that gyro EIS as well, so electronic image stabilization. On the front is a 32 megapixel camera at f2.5 with 26 millimeters focal length, and that's wide. It will capture as many people as possible in there, I believe, and it can do HDR as well, 4K at 30 frames per second, and 1080p at 30 frames per second. Getting into the device, there's not many bloatware here as well, which is good. You have vivo.com up there and the Nano Player, and you also get iManager. So if you click iManager, this will show you a few things about the device, like cleaning up the device, the security status. And if you look at utility tools, this is where you can do things like your battery management, network speed test, and ultra game mode, which I'll show you as well once we start gaming and you've got app cloning and easy share and all that stuff. It might not be useful for everyone, but it's there. One thing I've noticed about the VIVO X80 Pro so far is it has a lot of features, a lot of software functions and things going on for it that I fear that people that buy this might not actually benefit from using all those things. It might not be something they want to use, but then again, maybe this is not aimed at just a regular user and more of a pro user kind of user profile. But we'll dig deeper and see what I mean in a second. So let's go into settings. So if we just draw that down, and we have some settings options here. So if we go into display and brightness, we have adaptive brightness, brightness level, dark theme, for example, screen colors, font size, all that stuff. Where it gets interesting is screen resolution. You can change your screen resolution and go full whack if you want to do that. And that will also obviously eat into your 4,700 milliamp hour battery. And then you've got screen refresh rate here, which you can do smart switch, or you can go 60 Hertz or select 120 Hertz. If you do smart switch, it means that it will select the right things that needs the high refresh rate. So when you don't need it, it just saves battery life. And using the LTPO3 tech, it means it'll drop things down all the way to 1 Hertz if it needs to do so, which I think is pretty smart. So you're probably better off leaving it in smart switch, because when you go into gaming mode, you have the option to go to the full whack of refresh rate if you need to do so. But sometimes for me, for testing purposes, I just leave it at 120 Hertz. If you come back out, we've got things like your visual effects. So this one, you can do visual enhancements using AI. So this works with YouTube. This also works with Netflix, for example. But this one, it will increase your power consumption. So again, do bear that in mind. Come back out. We go all the way out back to more options here. You've got lock screen and wallpaper. You do have always on display. Because of the AMOLED display, which means you can change different settings on here. So up to you what you want to do here, but you can select the kind of style that you want. So I've got that style already here that selects some information and puts it to the side of the display, and I can apply that. If we come back out completely, you can do things like your UI color all around the theme of the device. So you can change that according to what you feel like doing, what you prefer, basically. We then have dynamic effects, which allows you to change things like your animations and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. So charge an animation, for example, you can change that if you wish to do so. You got ambient light effect for when you receive phone calls, for example, or when you play music, all that kind of stuff. So you can go through that and modify it to suit your preference and what you like to do on your phone, what you want your phone to look like. If you go into sound, we can go all the way down here and see what sound options we have. So if you go into sound quality and sound profiles, we got audio super resolution, so you can turn that off or on if you wish to do so. This will just improve the quality of low quality audio in video and audio files. So if you are watching something that's low quality, this will enhance the audio profile. If you go to hi-fi, you can optimize that, or sorry, you can switch that on and off for different applications that actually needs it. But this would only work when you've got your earphones plugged in. So that USB-C earbuds that comes in the packaging, you can plug that in and actually enjoy having that. Your listening experience, you can customize that as well. So headphone adaptation, again, once you plug it in, it will come through for that. Ear customized, you can allow this to test your hearing and stuff and tailor it to your actual hearing, which could be good if you're within this age limit, for example. So if you're above 60 years old, you might be able to adjust your sound profile so you make sure that you hear your sound quality if your ears kind of degraded or hearing has degraded a little bit with age. For example, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but you get the gist there, so you can customize all those things there. So I like that they've included those things on there. You've got screen capture, tone, touch sounds, all the sound settings there. If we go into apps, you can see your recent apps and apps clone, screen time, apps management settings. Got notifications, notification histories there, so you can see what you've received in the past, and just some more options there to actually have a look at and customize it. System update, you can upgrade it as you wish to do so. It's running on FunTouch OS, which is a fun name. It's based on Android 12, and you got battery settings there where you can look at your battery consumption and battery usage. And then we've got RAM and storage space. So this should show me how much RAM space I've used so far. You can manage storage from here. And you've also got that settings where you can use some of the actual storage that's available and extend the RAM as well. So it's there. So we just can extend it by up to additional 4 gigabytes of RAM, which is pretty smart. I think most of the new flagship Android devices have that now. And then security is obviously where you can set your fingerprint, you can do Find My Device, Face Unlock, and all that jazz. If you go all the way down here, you got your things like your privacy settings, so you can adjust those as well accordingly. It's entirely up to you. One thing I usually do is make sure that you can't turn the phone off whilst the phone is locked. So you still need to put your PIN code in to turn the phone off. That's something that I do for security purposes. So if my phone got stolen, for people to be able to turn it off so I can't search for it or find it, they'll still need that PIN code to do so. Ultra game mode is very good for you gamers out there. So you got a game sidebar, you got esports mode, which basically turns everything off, allowing you to basically enjoy the gaming experience and fully focus. And it supports things like your PUBG and Call of Duty there. And then you got your adaptive frame rate, which allows you to optimize your CPU resources whilst making sure the phone stays cool. This has got a liquid cooling chamber, so things should stay cool under heavy pressure. You got eagle eye movement enhancement, eagle eye view enhancement, so things like local tone mapping, color enhancements, and detail sharpening. So depending on what game you're playing, this will help your gaming experience. And you got 4D game vibrations, so this will work with PUBG, for example, and Call of Duty. So if you're shooting, for example, it will vibrate depending on where the shooting or the bullets are flying in from and out from as well. You got sound quality and sound effects, so you can customize that to do, again, to work with your gaming, stuff that we've been through already. And frame rate priority, you can allow those there. So when I was talking about putting things into smart mode and allowing this to tweak your frame rate, this is where that comes into play. So you can leave it in 60 Hertz if you like, or smart, and then come back here and allow it for the games that you're playing. So things still looks pretty smooth when you're gaming. If we go to About Phone, we can get more information in general. So this is running Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, but it's also got a VIVO V1 Plus chip, as you can see there. And all that means is this that chip run things like your graphics, your photography, processing power. So again, helping that battery to last as long as possible, as well as processing to be a lot more faster when you're doing things like photography, which you go through as well. And you can see Android 12 there, phone storage, 256 gigabytes, and so on. Going into your camera settings. So the camera interface and settings in general is very busy. I feel like there's a lot going on, and for regular users, they might find this a little bit confusing at first, but you do get used to it. So you got ultra wide angle there, which puts everything all the way out. You got 1x, which is your normal wide. You got 2x optical there, and 5x zoom there as well. So you can zoom into your subject as you wish to do so. To the left of that, you got AI. So that VIVO V1 Plus chip, for example, would also assist in making sure that AI works seamlessly and also spots your shooting scenario very quickly and accurately as well. You do get your filters as well, so you got different filters available to you. So do play around with that if you want to get really creative, or just leave it as original. And then under here, if we go to the top, we've got things like your Google lens, so you can scan things and you get smarter. You got flash off, always on, and so on. You got HDR auto, HDR on or off completely. I leave it usually on auto unless it affects the dynamic range, or if it's deciding things for me too much, then I turn that off completely. Then you got your Zeiss, which is part of the collaboration, so Zeiss neutral color. At the moment, I haven't been able to really see the difference when I was shooting out and about with it, but I'm going to do more tests on that to see how that actually works. And by the way, when you're using the camera, there's that little LED light in the corner that turns on to let you know that your camera is actually in use for privacy. So you're aware in terms of when it comes to privacy and so on. If we go into that little flower thing in the corner, that's your super macro. So again, you can shoot macro photos on here, which is a bonus. And then if we click that, we get extra settings, so you can choose different aspect ratios. 16:9 could be useful for shooting for Instagram stories, for example, and you got your timer there, you got framing, lines, motion, autofocus, stabilization, which you can turn on and off. But you've also got this effects master thing there. So this just allows you to basically, you can swipe up and down for brightness, and you can swipe left and right to remove colors from your photo. So you can see that yellow cushion there just goes all the way to black and white, or you can go all the way to make the colors pop, overly pop, or just put it back to natural. That's a cool effect to have, and I think some people will find that really useful, but you can just turn that off completely if you don't really want to use that at all. We can go into further settings in that. So again, this is why I'm telling you that there's a lot going on here. So you've got sound, location, mirror selfie, and you've also got a micro gimbal calibration. So you can calibrate your gimbal to make sure that it works accurately. You can do that every now and then. You don't have to do it all the time. Got motion autofocus. So again, this will allow for, if your subject's moving, you can quickly just track them. So you can do manual autofocus tracking. I'll switch those on if I were you. Keep settings, watermark. Watermark is on by default, so you can turn that off completely. And you've also got that enhanced night sky. Again, AI doing all the work there for you for shooting at nighttime. Although there's another mode for that, which I'll show you guys as well. So we go all the way to the left, we've got that 50 megapixel ultra HD resolution. So that can work with 48 megapixel UHD in ultra wide angle, or 50 megapixel just shooting wide. So you've got an option there to shoot high resolution photos, depending on which one you go for. If you go to night mode, you can shoot night mode across all focal length, which is great. And you've got some settings above as well. So things like your tripod detection, so you can shoot for longer. The exposure can be opened up for longer. You got extra option for panoramic nighttime. Again, just allowing things to stay as stable as possible. So you can just pan across, you can turn that off. And then we have long exposure. So again, you might need a tripod for this, but this would be great for shooting those nice creative photos like light trails and all that stuff, light painting. You can do so with that in night mode. We can turn it off completely. And then you've got your astrophotography and supermoon. So if you got a night where the sky is clear, you'll be able to shoot some nice supermoon footage there. If you go into settings, you got some regular photo settings there, like focusing and stuff like that. And aspect ratio, again, settings remains the same. And you got portrait mode as always. That just puts things into full portrait mode here for Instagram stories, for example. You can shoot that across 1 times, 2 times, and 5 times as well. There's no ultra wide on this one, but maybe just use 1 times and you'll be fine on the normal wide. And then we've got normal photo that we've gone through already. In video, we've got so many options there. You got AI active as well, so you got HDR, AI. So AI is useful for allowing you to, shoot the best that you can. And you got ultra wide 1 times and 2 times optical zoom there. Tap this little triangle on the corner. We do get some more Zeiss collaboration. So you got cinematic Zeiss there. Although again, I'm still yet to see where this comes in. I'm still trying to figure out where this helps you to become more creative. But you can add film LUTs to your video that you're shooting. This just gives it some sort of like filter, but it's baked in rather than just a filter that's added on top. So you can play with that and your style, whether you want it natural, original, like so, original. And you got more filters available as well. So the difference between the filter and the film LUTs is because one is actually baked in and one's a filter is just placed on top almost, if that makes sense. We can add your stabilization. You got ultra stabilization apart from just a standard one, so it gets really, really stable with that gimbal effect. And you got horizontal line as well, so regardless of how you're moving across and stuff like that, things will remain nice and stable. As you can see there, it just moves in a flowy sort of manner there. And you can shoot horizontal, so you can shoot like that, or you can just shoot portrait mode if you wish to do so. In terms of quality there, so you got 60 frames per second in 1080p. We can go all the way to 8K, but that will limit you to 30 frames per second. And 4K will allow you to do up to 60 frames per second. So is 1080p. And if we go into 720p, we can shoot up to 60 frames per second. If we go into settings here, we can see what you've got. You got teleprompter on here, so you can record things at the same time as reading stuff, which is useful for if you're recording for TikTok, for example, or Instagram stories, and you want to read your script out loud. You can do that at the same time, which I think is pretty smart. And then you got HDR10 Plus there. You got film mode, which is pretty cool. Look at that. Just puts it into that cinematic mode again. And we can turn that off. Go into extra settings. You get the same settings again, apart from codec, which you can change. You've got 3D sound tracking as well, and auto low light FPS, which is pretty cool. So when you're in low light, it will automatically adjust the frame rate so you get really good quality, especially in dark environments. We come out settings completely. We've got pro mode as always, which you can shoot different things, but you've also got this medium telephoto, standard telephoto, little icons there, which I quite like. And you can just mess around with that. You can shoot RAW format as well. If you go to more, we've got more options like double exposure, and we've also got Ultra HD Document, Astro, Pro Sport, Supermoon. Pro Sport's really good for if you're shooting blurry things or fast moving subject. This would be really good for shooting those kind of moments. Some photos that I took earlier as well, just out and about in London. You can see some there trying to differentiate between foreground and background images. Just look at the detail in that. Looks really nice on the Big Ben. Just go into that as well, punch in a bit more. Lots of details in there. Go all the way across, shooting in different, even front-facing camera there. You can see the shadows with the sunlight on my face. Looks really nice, pretty good there. So far, so good on the camera in terms of what it's capable of doing. The only thing is nighttime selfie, as you can see there. The colors are gone. It looks washed out. It struggles to get the detail in what I'm trying to do. So that's something that it needs work in terms of nighttime photography and the selfie camera as well. But I feel like in general, the user interface has a lot of information and settings and input. There's lots going on. So you still have to get used to touching things and figuring out what you actually want to do and what you need to do on there. When watching content on the X80 Pro, things looks really good, nice and vibrant, looks very sharp, great in all viewing angles as well. Apart from that curved edges, I think it's great in terms of display. The sound quality is good as well. We've got that stereo speaker that sounds really good. Audio sounds great when you're watching movies as well. Things just sounds really good all around. So there's no complaint there at all. And as you can see there, you know, colors just pop. It looks really nice. You might get some reflections in there on there though. So in terms of the display, that reflection can be a bit of a killer. But I think in most cases, it's just what you'd expect from a flagship device. It's just how it is. If you get an iPhone, for example, or Samsung, you do get the reflection as well, but the colors looks really good. Nice and vibrant, nice and sharp. The contrast is great as well. And it supports HDR10+. I don't think there's any more you can ask for in terms of the display. Looking at some of the benchmarking tools like Wildlife Extreme Stress Test, this will test your device for things like stability and how much it kind of throttles and all that stuff. And this is very much stable. He scores in at 81.4%. And when you go across, you can see that it does get really hot when it got to the high end of testing it. But you can see all the throttling and the frame rate moving and stuff like that. So, but it does hold its own. It holds really well. So that's not a problem there at all. Standard Wildlife, this scores 96% better than all other devices. And that fills me with confidence. That's really good. You got frame rates from between 35 frames per second going all the way up to 73 frames per second in terms of the testing done here. Overall score 8,709. If we go across, we look at normal Wildlife Extreme here, 2,507. Again, scoring really highly and really good. Wildlife Extreme, that's 76% better than most other devices in the same sort of bracket. And storage scores in terms of read and write, this has got UFS 3.1, so it's really quick in terms of read and write. Scores really highly, as you can see up there. If we go across, work performance, really good as well. So it scores really well. And then when you look at your Geekbench scores, Vulkan score, again really high up there. Go across to OpenCL score, again really high up there. And you can see how it compares to some of the OG phones on here that we commonly just compare these devices to. Looks really good as well when it comes to multi-core and single core. So I think in terms of benchmarking, generally this scores really highly, and I'm not surprised at all. It's running Gen 1. It's got that extra VIVO chip in there as well. So a lot of AI performance and things that's going on in terms of wizardry with that software functions that we've got on here. Let's look at some of the gaming performance here though. So real life gaming performance works really well with PUBG. I've been gaming on PUBG on here all night, trying to get some really high score and stuff. But you can scroll across on the side so you can see that extra gaming menu that you've got. You've got 4D gaming vibration, expert mode, voice changer if you're gaming online and you want to change your voice for whatever reason. And you've got different modes as well. So you've got battery saver, balance mode, or performance mode. Tap performance mode and things just gets really boosted up, so you don't get any stutter at all at any point. Got that eagle eye view, blocked all notifications, and so on and so forth. So really filling us with confidence here in terms of what you can actually do when I've completed my first match. I'm going to come out of here because PUBG sometimes take a while to load and actually get going. Not the phone's fault. You've also got some emulator as well that I tried running some emulator games on here. They run really well, they run really quickly. I'm not going to go through them right now, but there's some of the tests that I went through and it works really well. Call of Duty, same scenario. We load up Call of Duty here and you can see that it works really well. It just works really smoothly, moving around the screen, the map and stuff like that, shooting. There's no stutter, there's no lag at all. So if you bind this to game as well, you are in for a treat. It's a really good gaming device. And that's it for the VIVO X80 Pro flagship device. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any questions, drop them there as well. But if this is your first time around here, please do subscribe, smash the bell notification so you get notified every time there's a video up on the channel like this, and like it and share as well. It does really help me out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.